This is a great time then to move to Richard Allan, because Facebook did respond to this letter. And I know Facebook has been responding to this whole issue very much in recent times. So, Richard, you are the Vice President for Policy in Europe, Middle East and Africa, a very big region. You deal with privacy, online child safety, freedom of expression, e-commerce regulation, public sector uses of social media. But you have a background, which I think you certainly understand politics, because you were an MP for, 8 years in the UK, and you worked in the UK Cabinet Office for the Power of Information Task Force. So you know this, you know all this arena in great detail, and you know the importance of responsiveness. So tell us, where are you in Facebook today in terms of responding to these kinds of issues?
So just respond first on the specific of the photo, which has been discussed quite a lot. So just to explain the rationale from our side, because a lot of what we do often seems irrational, but there is a rational basis to it. We have a very simple rule. We have people, if you report content on Facebook, it goes to one of many thousands of reviewers that we have. And they have a simple rule which says, if it is a photo of a child who is under 18, take it down. That's the simple rule. And 99.9% of the time, that's absolutely the correct action. No responsible internet platform should allow the circulation of naked children, because it's frankly illegal in a lot of countries, and that is the right action. In this case, it was the wrong action, and we've said it was the wrong action, and we've now given instructions to our reviewers, essentially, to be able to consider what we call a newsworthy exception. So there are occasional photos of naked children where the public interest in the publication of that photo, and in this case the consent of the person involved, outweighs the normal policy. So that's on the specific, and again, just be clear, this is what we do all of the time. The circumstances under which over 1 billion people can post content, create novelties every single day, and we have to have a team of people who say, here is a novel situation we hadn't anticipated. What should we now do? Do we change our rules? Do we continue to enforce them? Do we need to do something different? And that's our daily experience. So that's on the content side. I really want to talk about the algorithm piece, because I still think there's a lot of misunderstanding around this. Let's be very, very clear. When you come onto Facebook, you make connections. So I may connect with my sister, who I see every week, my cousin who lives a long way away, with the New York Times, with a cat lovers group, with a crazy stories group that gives me comedy stories. I build up a series of connections, and the content I see in the newsfeed is the sum of those connections. It's like I've signed up to 1,000 periodicals from friends and family and serious news sources and individuals. And those periodicals land on my doormat every day. And we do not take periodicals you've not subscribed and stick them in there, except for one exception, which is every so often you will get one of those paid-for supplements that you get in the periodical. That's our ads. So people can choose to pay us to drop a paid-for supplement with some advertising into that feed. But the vast majority of the content in that feed is content that you yourself have selected to connect to. So if I choose to connect to The Guardian in the UK, I will get Guardian content. Facebook will not give me Daily Mail content, a different newspaper, because I haven't connected to the Daily Mail. And I think sometimes in this debate there's a sense that the algorithm is choosing from all the world of content on Facebook and deciding what you see. It doesn't do that. What it does do is to order the stack of periodicals, for the simple reason that as we built this system, if you only had 5 friends and 5 things you signed up to, that would be absolutely fine. You just see them all, read them all. What we find is that people sign up to 1,000 different periodicals, and they've only got time to read 20. So the algorithm does have an effect, certainly, but what it's doing is putting at the top of that stack the 20 that we think you're most interested in, because they're the 20 that you have engaged with on a daily basis, that you connect with, where you have strong ties. The other 980 are all in the stack. Keep strolling down your newsfeed. They're all there. All we've done is just order them into the order that we think is most useful. So the algorithm has an effect, but it doesn't choose the content you see. When it comes to fake news, you will see fake news if you have signed up to fake news sites, or if you've connected with family and friends who want to share fake news with you. And we have been working recently to try and address that. We have some core values. We would like to retain that core essence, which is that you're your own editor. You choose what you want to see on the service. But we also would like to help build an informed community. We have a responsibility to society. And so the experiment we've started is to say, where we get strong signals that a story may be deliberately deceptive and presented as news, and there are some definitional questions here, but assume that it's a story that's being spread that's deliberately deceptive, presented as news. Those signals will come from our users who tell us we think this is a problem. We will then take that story, and we don't want, again, to be the arbiters of truth ourselves, really important principle. We will share the story with other experts. We want to work with the best experts in the field. So those will be independent fact checkers, like here in France, we're starting to work with people like décodeurs. If they look at that and they say, actually, this story is bad, it's false, when it comes back to the site, we can then label the story as disputed. We're not going to remove it. If you want to connect to this stuff, you can, but we'll flag it as disputed, which will help you in your media literacy, but may also mean that you're less likely to share the story. It's going to get less currency and get less distribution out there. It's an experiment. We want to see how that works. I say it's crucial, I think, that we are not the editor. We're not interfering in the choices people make about the content. But it's one step that we can take to try and help with media literacy and help people understand all the stuff that's coming through their newsfeed that is algorithmically ordered, but not algorithmically selected. Crucial difference.
Super, thank you. I'm going to come to Samuel in 1 minute because they have a partnership with you, and that would be very interesting to hear about. I understand, so some content with your partnership with the fact checkers, you will signal that this is contested. Some people have suggested too that you might also offer people proactively a chance to subscribe to something that they don't normally subscribe to. In other words, you say, here's a periodical with a different point of view. So it's not just then signaling problematic content, but recommending good content. What is your position on that?
I want to signal, so we've set an objective. We would like to help our community to become informed. At the same time, we don't want to be the censors. We're in this curious position where we're getting told, we don't want you to be the world editor, but can you do a bit more editing over here, please? And that's kind of like a difficult position to be. We really don't want to be the world's editor. It is for the people who use our service to choose that content. If there are things we can do to signal and signpost and help people find content, engage in media literacy, great. But I think we are rightly and naturally cautious. It doesn't mean we won't do things if they prove to be good and our community wants them. But I think it's right that we're cautious about what may appear to be easy solutions, that we recommend content A over content B, that as soon as you get into it, become very complex. If people followed a debate in the US around something called trending topics, where we put content we thought was interesting up on the right-hand side, that kind of didn't go so well. We selected some content we thought would be useful, and that act of selection suddenly became a huge argument as to whether we'd selected the right stuff or not. So I think that caution is natural, and I think it's realistic and in the interest of our community. But if people have got great ideas, I want to signal we as a company are really open to people who have good ideas about what we could do to help build an informed community.